Hello, my dear friends. Today, I want to share with you an inspiring story about the hidden strength within each of us. It's the power to let go, to walk away from negative situations that drain your energy and joy for life. Surely we have all experienced moments that seemed hopeless, when problems appeared to have no way out. You felt helpless, exhausted, and desperate. But my friend, don't worry, because you are not alone. We have all been in similar situations. Now, I invite you to explore the philosophy of Stoicism, an ancient doctrine about mental resilience and living according to virtue. Through 13 profound lessons, we will see that leaving a negative situation is not a sign of weakness, but rather the bravest action you can take. Whether you are stuck in a toxic relationship, a dull job, or simply surrounded by negative influences, this video will equip you with the knowledge and courage to break free. It's time for you to reclaim your own power. Are you ready to live a life of serenity, clarity, and purpose? If you're joining me on this journey, leave the number 1 in the comments. Let's walk together on this path of discovering our hidden strength, shall we? Lesson number 1: not everything deserves your energy. When you are standing in a bustling marketplace that is full of sights, sounds, and smells, each stall represents a different facet of your life. These aspects include your relationships, careers, hobbies, and the interactions you have on a daily basis when you are there. Your basket is a representation of the limited amount of time and energy you have available, and as you make your way through the market, each stall wants to attract your attention and compete for your resources. The poignant reminder that Seneca provided, which states it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it, reverberates throughout the numerous customers in the market. Although the contents of your basket may appear to be significant, they are limited in quantity. You are reducing the amount of space and energy that is available for other people with every trinket that you select and every stall that you linger at. Certain stalls, like noxious weeds, exude an atmosphere of negativity. In these energy-draining stalls, you will find conversations that are full of gossip, relationships that are toxic, and commitments that do not fulfill you, all of which will leave you feeling exhausted and depleted. The act of clinging to these stalls in the hope of bringing about change is analogous to tending to weeds and anticipating that they will develop into beautiful flowers. On the other hand, other stalls exude warmth and possibility. Friendships that are encouraging, hobbies that are stimulating, and conversations that are inspiring are all things that can be found in these stalls. These things nourish your soul, which in turn fuels your growth and happiness. These are the areas in your garden that are rich in nutrients and are just waiting to be cultivated further by you. If you want to be successful in this market, you need to exercise discernment, which means making intelligent decisions about what you put in your basket. Ask yourself, does this stall align with my values and goals? Is this relationship uplifting, or does it leave me feeling drained? Does this opportunity align with my passions, or is it merely a distraction? Does this stall energize or deplete me? Does this interaction inspire and motivate me? Or do I walk away feeling exhausted and discouraged? Is this the best use of my limited resources? Could my energy be better invested in another stall, which might yield more significant growth and fulfillment? Walking away from draining stalls is not about indifference or cruelty, but rather an act of self-care, a conscious decision to nurture your well-being. By doing so, you are able to direct your valuable energy towards the fertile patches, thereby cultivating a life that is truly blossoming. Keep in mind that one does not need to be dramatic in order to walk away. When you want to make a positive change in your life, sometimes all it takes is a shift in focus, a polite decline of negative energies. or a mindful decision to limit your exposure to negativity. These are all actions that can be taken. You have the ability to create a life that is vibrant and fulfilling by making conscious choices. Each step of discernment and redirection gives you the power to do so. This reworded version of the first lesson seems to resonate with you, and it encourages you to make choices that are conscious in the midst of the hectic marketplace that is life. Lesson number 2: setting boundaries isn't selfish. There is a parallel that can be drawn between life and a dance floor, where the interactions between individuals are like graceful movements, with each individual contributing their own unique energy and rhythm to help create an overall experience. When it comes to maintaining safety, respect, and enjoyment, boundaries are absolutely necessary. Epictetus, a well-known Stoic philosopher, emphasized the significance of living in harmony with one's true self and values, which is also referred to as living according to nature. This is similar to how any dance is performed or performed. The establishment of boundaries is an essential component of this philosophy. This is not to be understood as the construction of rigid walls. Rather, it refers to the process of defining a space in which one is able to feel at ease and empowered to move freely within the dance of life. The act of establishing boundaries is frequently regarded as selfish. However, this misconception originates from an incorrect understanding of what it means to love oneself. Putting one's own health and happiness first in order to fully participate in genuine and mutually beneficial relationships is an essential component of genuine self-love. In other words, it means acknowledging that one's energy and emotional space are valuable resources and that one has the right to safeguard them. Individuals are able to freely express themselves without experiencing feelings of suffocation or disrespect when there is a harmonious flow that occurs when dancers move gracefully within their space while remaining respectful of each other's boundaries. However, when boundaries are ignored, the dance becomes unbalanced, which can result in discomfort as well as the possibility of injury. By removing yourself from a relationship with someone who persistently disregards your boundaries, you are not abandoning them, but rather empowering yourself. In addition to demonstrating self-respect, it conveys the message that you will not tolerate disrespect. Walking away does not have to be a dramatic act. It can be a straightforward and unwavering declaration of your requirements or a choice to restrict the amount of interaction you have with the other person. The establishment of space for genuine connections that are founded on mutual understanding and respect requires the establishment of healthy boundaries and the guarantee that these boundaries will be enforced accordingly. The relationships you have with people who genuinely value you will be more satisfying and long-lasting because they will respect the boundaries you set for yourself. It is important to keep in mind that healthy boundaries attract healthy connections, which in turn helps to cultivate a dance floor where participants can move freely and joyfully. The process of establishing, communicating, and maintaining boundaries is an ongoing activity that requires continuous attention and modification. Use compassion while maintaining a firm stance when establishing your boundaries. Your health should be your top priority, and you should not feel guilty about declining offers. Getting away from disrespectful behavior is the first step toward establishing genuine connections. You will be able to cultivate connections that respect and celebrate your authentic self if you embrace these concepts, which will give you the power to claim your space on the dance floor of life. I understand that setting boundaries can sometimes make us feel selfish, but trust me, it's an act of self-love that is absolutely necessary. When we respect our own space and energy, we can fully engage in genuine and nourishing relationships. You deserve to live and dance to the rhythm of your own life, in a space that feels safe and comfortable. Don't be afraid to express your limits, because that's how you say, "I value myself. I'm always here, standing by your side on this journey of discovering your inner strength." You are not alone. Lesson number 3: closure isn't always external. One could say that closure is analogous to a hidden map that leads to a chest that contains the ability to progress, as well as understanding and peace between people. Rather than looking for this treasure in the form of external validation, apologies, or dramatic confrontations, we frequently spend years looking for it. With that being said, Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor and philosopher, reminds us in a wise way, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. The key to actual closure and true healing is often not in what other people give us, but rather in what we cultivate within ourselves. The desire for external closure is understandable, given that we all have a strong desire for answers, apologies, and a definitive conclusion to situations that have not been resolved. On the other hand, clinging to this hope can lead us to become dependent on the actions of others and to become trapped in a cycle of waiting. Not only does this way of thinking keep us focused on the past, but it also makes it difficult for us to heal and grow. Instead of waiting for a sign from the outside world, making the decision to step away and focus on one's own inner work can become an empowering journey of self-discovery. With the help of introspection, self-compassion, and forgiveness, we are able to open the treasure chest of closure that is located within ourselves. It is important to show yourself the same compassion and kindness that you would show to a loved one. Please allow yourself to feel validated, acknowledge the pain you are experiencing, and free yourself from self-blame and judgment. Self-compassion cultivates an environment that is conducive to healing and personal development. In many cases, forgiveness is misunderstood as a form of approval for the actions of another person. In point of fact, it is an act of liberating ourselves from the mental and emotional burden of harboring resentment. It does not eradicate the past, but it does prevent it from having any influence over our present or our future. Being able to forgive oneself or others is a gift that can bring about feelings of freedom and lightness. The focus should be on what is happening right now, rather than on why things occurred. In what ways did you grow as a result of the experience? How can you develop and move forward with the knowledge that you have gained? This strategy gives you the ability to reclaim your narrative and rewrite the conclusion of your story using your own words. Keep in mind that closure is not a destination, but rather a journey that is unique to each individual. Be patient with yourself and kind to yourself. When it comes to healing, true healing comes from within, even though external validation and apologies can be helpful. Instead of being a gift for the other person, forgiveness is a gift for yourself. Forget about the past and commit to a lifelong pursuit of knowledge and improvement. We encourage you to embark on a transformative journey of self-discovery in the third lesson, with the goal of finding closure within the treasure chest of your resilience and self-compassion. It is important to keep in mind that you possess the ability to heal, forgive, and move forward with grace and understanding, thereby creating a future that is filled with freedom and possibility. Lesson number 4: growth often lies outside your comfort zone. It is possible to compare the comfort zone to a warm and inviting cottage that is surrounded by routines and patterns that are familiar and predictable. It has the ability to make us feel warm and secure, but at the same time, it has the potential to restrict our capacity for personal development and finding new things. Experimenting with new things and breaking away from our routines can be an intimidating prospect. On the other hand, the Roman Stoic philosopher Seneca reminds us that we should not be afraid of death, but rather of the possibility that we will never truly experience life. When we venture outside of our comfort zone, we frequently discover opportunities for personal development and fulfillment that are just waiting for us to discover them in uncharted territory. The appeal of remaining in one's comfort zone cannot be refuted. We are able to feel secure, in control, and predictable in this environment. We are well versed in the regulations, difficulties, and alternatives that may be available. On the other hand, if we continue to cling to it for an excessive amount of time, it can cause us to become stagnant, which will result in us missing out on opportunities to learn, develop, and experience the beauty that life has to offer. What lies beyond the quaint cottage is a vast and vibrant landscape that is brimming with diverse opportunities. It is a place where limiting beliefs can be challenged, hidden talents can be discovered, and new passions can be sparked. It is possible to create space for self-discovery and unlock our potential for remarkable growth when we remove ourselves from environments or patterns that are unhealthy or restrictive. Moving beyond what we are accustomed to can be a nerve-wracking experience. We may be confronted with challenges that are unfamiliar to us, come across obstacles that we did not anticipate, and have moments of self-doubt. On the other hand, we must keep in mind that discomfort is frequently a sign of development. Our resilience is strengthened, we are pushed beyond our limits, and we learn valuable lessons about ourselves and the world around us as a result of those experiences. As a result of the unknown, our beliefs and assumptions about ourselves and the world are frequently called into question, which enables us to reevaluate, question, and rewrite our historical narrative. It is imperative that we accept the discomfort that comes with challenging our assumptions, because doing so will enable us to let go of limitations that are no longer relevant and to uncover new possibilities for who we can be and what we can accomplish. It is essential to keep in mind that growth very rarely occurs within the confines of our comfort zone. It is necessary for us to accept short-term discomfort in order to reap long-term benefits. Starting with relatively minor challenges, gradually expanding our boundaries, and celebrating each step that takes us outside of our comfort zone are all viable options. We can't just concentrate on the end goal, we have to pay attention to the process also. We are more courageous than we give ourselves credit for, more powerful than we appear to be, and capable of more than we can possibly imagine. We are encouraged to embrace the transformative power of stepping outside of our comfort zone as we continue our exploration of Lesson 4. Keep in mind that the most incredible experiences, discoveries, and lives that are truly fulfilling are frequently found beyond the walls of the familiar. You are about to embark on a journey of remarkable growth and self-discovery if you take that first step, where you embrace the unknown. Lesson number 5: you can't change others. When you think about life, picture a vast garden that is filled with a variety of plants, each of which represents a different person you will encounter along your journey. At the same time that some plants thrive, others struggle, or even threaten to outgrow the space that you have cultivated. Epictetus, a well-known Stoic philosopher, reminds us that the primary goal in life is to differentiate and isolate matters so that we can clearly distinguish between external factors that do not depend on us and those that pertain to the choices we have control over. This is the primary objective in life. Developing and nurturing others may be a fulfilling experience, however, it is essential to recognize and separate these factors in order to keep our focus on the things that we have the ability to influence and to maintain clarity. A profound truth is brought to light by this lesson. Although we have the ability to guide, nurture, and inspire others, we do not have the ability to control their development or actions. The pursuit of changing other people is frequently motivated by a desire for control, which can cause us to neglect our own development and well-being while simultaneously cultivating feelings of resentment and frustration when our preconceived notions are not fulfilled. On the other hand, Epictetus encourages us to determine our circle of control, which is the fertile ground that we can cultivate with intention and effort. This circle of control encompasses our thoughts, actions, reactions, and alternatives. We are able to cultivate the characteristics and behaviors that are congruent with our values and objectives in this environment. When you walk away from the pointless attempt to exert control over other people, you are not demonstrating indifference or abandonment, rather, you are demonstrating acceptance. We acknowledge that the experiences and decisions of other people have a significant impact on the paths they take in life. At the same time that we respect their independence, we are concentrating on fostering the growth of life within our sphere of influence. Changing your focus from trying to change other people to focusing on your own personal development and making positive changes can be an empowering experience. Among these are the cultivation of self-awareness through the understanding of one's triggers, values, and motivations, the practice of healthy boundaries through the establishment of limits in order to safeguard one's emotional well-being, the development of effective communication through the expression of one's needs and concerns in a manner that is respectful and clear, and the concept of leading by example, which involves inspiring others through positive choices and actions. Keep in mind that you have the ability to care for other people, but you cannot control their development or their fate. The cultivation of your own garden within your sphere of influence should be your primary focus. Accepting the decisions made by other people gives you the ability to channel your energy toward achieving happiness and well-being. Set an example for others to follow, motivate others through your actions, and allow your authenticity to sprout. This examination of Lesson 5 encourages you to direct your attention away from exerting control over other people and toward cultivating a life that is flourishing yourself. It is important to keep in mind that the most visually appealing garden starts with a single seed that is planted in the rich soil. Taking care of yourself, cultivating your values, and allowing your genuine self to flourish while serving as an example to others on your journey are all things that can help you realize your potential for growth and well-being. Lesson number 6: trust your intuition. It's great that you've come this far with me. Please leave a smiley face emoji in the comments so I know you'll be with me until the end of the video. It is possible to compare life to a bustling marketplace that is full of numerous opportunities and demands, where a variety of voices compete for your attention and you are pulled in a variety of different directions. Because it enables you to assert your boundaries, respect your inner wisdom, and protect your valuable time and energy, the word no can be a powerful tool in this scenario so that you can protect your time and energy. In his book Meditations, the Stoic philosopher and emperor Marcus Aurelius made the observation that don't waste time debating what a good person should be saying no is not an act of rudeness or dismissal, rather, it is a way to open the door to a life that is filled with yeses that genuinely resonate with the purpose of your soul. Most of the time, when we are told to decline an offer, we are instructed to justify our choices. When we are afraid of being rejected or appearing selfish, we have a tendency to provide lengthy explanations. The pursuit of approval, on the other hand, has the potential to divert our attention away from our intuition, which is the voice within us that utters words of wisdom and directs us toward what is in accordance with our values and well-being. Our intuition is something that we ought to learn to trust, rather than looking for validation from outside sources. The experiences, values, and deepest desires that we have are the sources of this subtle voice that we have within us. When it tells us to leave, we ought to pay close attention to what it has to say. It is sufficient to simply say no while maintaining self-assurance and respect. We are able to communicate our decision in a clear manner without the need for an apology or justification. The act of establishing boundaries is not about isolating ourselves, rather. It is about establishing a secure environment in which we can flourish. When we say no to things that deplete our energy or go against our values, we are able to say yes to things that provide us with nourishment. A demonstration of self-respect, this action demonstrates that our time, energy, and well-being are valuable assets that should be safeguarded. Our ability to say no can have significant repercussions. It gives us the ability to regain control over our decisions, which in turn helps us develop a sense of agency and self-worth, and it also attracts healthy connections. Those who respect our boundaries are more likely to value and cultivate genuine connections with us. It frees up space for yes. When we let go of commitments that are draining, we make room for opportunities that are in line with our purpose. It is important to keep in mind that we do not owe anyone an explanation for our refusal. Our intuition is just fine. It is not selfish to say no, rather, it is necessary for our own self-respect and well-being to do so. Having the ability to say no in the right context can pave the way for powerful yeses that are in tune with our true selves. Use the power of no as a tool for self-discovery and self-respect, and embrace its advantages. As we make our way through the bustling marketplace of life, let us put our faith in our gut instincts, speak the truth, and work toward building a life that is full of yeses that are in harmony with our genuine selves. It is important to keep in mind that the option that is the most empowering is often the simplest and affirmative and confident no. Lesson number 7: walking away does not mean giving up. Without giving it much thought, it is not always the best course of action to charge forward. Battles in life require a strategic approach, which may involve taking a step back and selecting a different course of action at times. In the 7th lesson, we discuss the power of walking away, which is not the same thing as surrendering, but rather functioning as a necessary maneuver for gaining perspective, effectively strategizing, and ultimately accomplishing our objectives. The illusion of weakness. Walking away from a situation can frequently be interpreted as a sign of weakness or giving up. However, true strength lies in the ability to recognize when it is time to disengage from challenges that are pointless and select an alternative strategy. Emotions have the potential to obscure our thinking, making it difficult for us to see alternative solutions. When we are in the midst of intense situations, taking a step back in order to gain some strategic advantages is always beneficial. When confronted with a difficult circumstance, it is difficult to think in an objective manner for the purpose of achieving clarity. As we step away from the situation, we create space for ourselves to detach from our emotional reactions and observe the problem in a clear manner, which enables us to recognize new opportunities and potential pitfalls. Engaging in battles that are not productive depletes both our physical and mental resources, so it is important to conserve energy. By removing ourselves from the situation, we are able to reorganize, refresh ourselves, and approach it with renewed concentration and vitality. Exploring new possibilities. Being stuck on a single course of action can restrict our ability to see other, more favorable options. In the process of taking a step back, our minds are open to the possibility of exploring unconventional solutions and creative approaches that we might have initially overlooked. The missing portion of the Seneca quote prevents a direct link from being established, however. we can investigate themes that are aligned with his philosophy in order to gain an understanding of the strategic value of walking away. Being in the here and now, Seneca places a strong emphasis on taking pleasure in the here and now, rather than ruminating on the past or anxiously anticipating the future. Walking away from a situation can be a way to break free from a fixation that is not productive and to concentrate on opportunities that are currently available for growth and strategic action. We are able to let go of attachments to situations or relationships that drain our energy when we are content with what we have. This is because we are able to recognize that something that we have is sufficient. This opens up opportunities for us to pursue endeavors that are congruent with our values and objectives, even if it requires us to remove ourselves from situations that are familiar but could be harmful. Keep in mind that departing from something requires both self-awareness and bravery. It is about picking the right battles and knowing when to step away from a conflict in order to focus on something more important. It is not about giving up on our objectives, rather, it is about taking a strategic step back in order to discover a more efficient way to accomplish them. Pay attention to our gut feelings and, if necessary, look for assistance. You should have faith that the most significant victories are sometimes won through strategic retreats and pivots that are executed at the right moment. The strategic power of walking away is a tool for achieving our goals, gaining clarity, and growing as individuals should be embraced. Remember that sometimes the most significant victories are not achieved through brute force, but rather through wisdom, self-awareness, and the courage to choose the right path, even if it means taking a temporary step back. This is something that you should keep in mind. Lesson number 8, let your actions speak. Just picture a bustling market where people are vying for attention and competing with one another. Keeping quiet in the midst of all this noise can be an effective strategy. As the Stoic philosopher Epicurus once said, "It is not what happens to you that counts, but how you respond to it." In the 8th lesson, we investigate the power of silence, not as a sign of weakness, but as a response that is strategic and meaningful. The power of silence extends far beyond words. We frequently experience the urge to defend ourselves, provide an explanation for our actions, or engage in arguments in order to demonstrate our point. On the other hand, these efforts might be fruitless, exhausting, and potentially counterproductive. In many circumstances, choosing silence is not an act of passivity, rather, it is a deliberate act of self-respect and strategic communication. The following are the messages that are communicated through silence, establishing boundaries. When someone disrespects or violates your values, remaining silent demonstrates that you will not tolerate their misconduct. A clear boundary is established, which conveys the message that you are deserving of respect and that you will not engage in interactions that are unhealthy. Maintaining your inner peace requires you to make the decision to remain silent. It is possible to cause emotional turmoil by engaging in negative activities or arguments. Taking a step back allows you to keep your cool and prevents you from getting involved in drama that isn't particularly necessary. When regaining control, when you respond with silence, you give yourself the strength to choose how you will react. Additionally, it prevents other people from dictating your feelings or actions, which enables you to exercise control over how you react. There are times when actions speak louder than words. Acts can sometimes speak more loudly than words. Rather than engaging in verbal battles, it may be more effective to take a step back and concentrate on taking constructive actions that are in line with your core beliefs. At the same time that it is essential to differentiate between strategic silence and disengagement from life or essential conversations, it is also important to distinguish between walking away and disengagement. Walking away does not imply apathy or a withdrawal from issues that are of significant importance. Making a deliberate choice to steer clear of unproductive negativity and direct your energy towards situations and individuals who are deserving of your attention and effort is a conscious decision. Keep in mind that choosing silence is not a sign of weakness, but rather of strength and respect for oneself. Make strategic use of silence, becoming aware of the situations in which it is the most effective response. Incorporate positive actions that affirm your values and goals at the same time that you are silent. Put your faith in your gut instincts and select responses that are in harmony with your inner calm and sense of well-being. Embrace the power of silence as a tool for achieving self-respect, engaging in productive communication, and maintaining emotional well-being. It is important to keep in mind that the goal is not to avoid all challenges, rather, it is to select your battles carefully and respond in ways that empower you and are in alignment with your true self. Lesson number 9: seek validation within as you close your eyes. Imagine that you are a flower that is just beginning to bloom and that you are reaching out to the sun in search of the warmth and nourishment that it offers. On the other hand, what if the sun only acknowledged flowers of a different color, leaving you with the impression that you were not appreciated and that you were ignored? This inner turmoil is a reflection of our innate need for validation, and Lesson 9 advocates for a shift in focus away from seeking approval from others and toward cultivating self-worth from within. We have a strong desire to be acknowledged, valued, and accepted by others. This is the temptation of external validation. External sources, such as acquaintances, family members, co-workers, or even followers on social media, are frequently the ones we turn to in order to obtain this particular validation. Nevertheless, this pursuit has the potential to turn into an endless cycle of striving, which can lead to feelings of disappointment and inadequacy. Seneca, a Roman Stoic philosopher, made a profound observation when he said, "It is a poor thing to live on borrowed opinions." This is a common misunderstanding about conditional worth. When we seek validation from outside sources, we create a foundation for our own sense of self-worth, which ultimately results in conditional self-esteem. The approval or disapproval of other people can have a significant impact on how we perceive our own value. Because of this, we are more susceptible to being manipulated, and our inner strength is diminished. Stepping away from people who diminish your worth is not an act of rebellion, rather, it is an act of self-love. Stepping away from those who diminish your worth to embrace your authentic self. It is about making room in your life to re-establish a connection with your authentic self, free from the distortions that come from being judged by others. In the course of this journey, you may find yourself recognizing limiting beliefs, acknowledging and questioning negative beliefs about yourself that have been imbued by others, celebrating your uniqueness, embracing your individuality, talents and quirks that make you who you are, practicing self-compassion, extending the same kindness and empathy toward yourself that you would toward a loved one, establishing healthy boundaries, and protecting your emotional well-being by separating yourself from negativity and criticism. Seeking validation from within. Finding the right kind of validation comes from within, from discovering and appreciating the value that is already present in you. Not only does this not mean becoming self-centered, but it also means developing a healthy sense of self-worth that is independent of the opinions of others. Practices such as keeping a gratitude journal, focusing on the positive aspects of your life and accomplishments, spending time in nature, re-establishing your inner calm, and discovering solace in the natural world, participating in activities that you enjoy, cultivating your passions and talents, reminding yourself of your abilities, surrounding yourself with supportive people, and cultivating relationships that celebrate your authentic self are all examples of practices that can help you cultivate a more positive outlook on life. Always keep in mind that you are valuable, worthy, and sufficient in your current state. It is important to look for proper validation from within rather than seeking it from the outside. Embrace your uniqueness and let your inner radiance shine through by removing yourself from negative influences. This will create space for you to discover who you are and to form genuine connections with other people. You will be inspired to embark on a journey of self-discovery that will change your life as a result of this exploration of Lesson 9. It is important to keep in mind that you are a one-of-a-kind and extraordinary being who is deserving of love and acceptance from both yourself and those who genuinely appreciate you. It is important to allow your inner radiance to shine brightly and to nurture it with self-compassion and validation from within. Lesson number 10: embrace fresh air. As you come to picture your life as a flourishing garden with an infinite amount of potential, having the awareness that weeds and plants that are dying can sometimes stifle the growth of new beginnings is an essential part of the process. The 10th lesson encourages you to acknowledge the power of letting go and to let go of negative emotions and baggage in order to cultivate an environment that is conducive to new beginnings. As the Roman Stoic emperor and philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "The whole future lies in uncertainty. Live immediately refusing to let go of negative experiences or emotions hinders our ability to embrace future opportunities and the present moment fully." We frequently cling to things that are no longer beneficial to us, such as resentments, regrets, toxic relationships, and limiting beliefs. These things serve as heavy backpacks that drag us down and sap our energy. They are the determinants of our capacity for development, happiness, and new experiences. Letting go of negativity does not mean forgetting or erasing the past, rather, it means recognizing, learning from, and then releasing its hold on us. This is analogous to clearing out overgrown weeds in a garden in order to make room for sunlight, fresh air, and new growth. The benefits of this process are numerous: reduce stress and anxiety, letting go of burdens lighten our emotional load, promoting inner peace and well-being, increased energy and clarity, releasing negativity frees up mental and emotional resources, allowing us to focus on what truly matters. Openness to new opportunities. By letting go of the past, we create space for new experiences, relationships, and possibilities to enter our lives. Personal growth and transformation. Letting go can be challenging, but ultimately it leads to self-discovery and personal evolution. Letting go is a courageous step toward personal growth and a future filled with exciting possibilities, despite the fact that it can be difficult to fully let go of something. Courage, self-compassion, and sometimes support from loved ones or professionals are all necessary components of this process. With that being said, the potential that lies on the other side is well worth the effort. Imagine replacing negative thoughts and feelings with positive affirmations and visualizations of the future you want. Practice mindfulness and be present in the moment. Acknowledge and let go of negative thoughts and feelings without passing judgment on them. Look for assistance and confide in people you can trust, such as close friends, members of your family, or a therapist who can offer you support and advice that will be of great assistance. Recognize and appreciate your progress, no matter how small it may be, and celebrate even the smallest of your victories. Keep in mind that letting go is not a one-time event, but rather a process that occurs continuously. Treat yourself with patience and kindness, and direct your attention to the future you want to create rather than the past you are leaving behind. Your life will flourish with vibrant possibilities if you allow yourself to completely immerse yourself in the fresh air of new beginnings. The purpose of this examination of Lesson 10 is to inspire you to embark on a journey of self-improvement. Lesson number 11: Protect your sanctuary. It is fundamental to visualize a tranquil haven within yourself, a place where you can unwind and experience a sense of fulfillment. Having this kind of inner peace is the cornerstone of a life that is fulfilling. Nevertheless, the difficulties and requirements of day-to-day life can occasionally stand in the way of this tranquility. As we go through Lesson 11, we are reminded that taking care of our peace is not an act of selfishness, but rather a form of self-care and respect for oneself. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher who lived in ancient Rome, taught that the temptation to sacrifice peace occurs when we try to please other people, seek external validation, or tolerate negativity. This is typically due to the fact that we are afraid of being disapproved of or rejected. If we want to avoid conflict or keep the peace, we might have to make concessions to our peace. These kinds of compromises, on the other hand, are costly because they deplete our well-being and consumption of our energy. Finding happiness within oneself is the advice of Seneca. The lesson that Seneca imparts to us is that the key to genuine happiness is to be fully present in the here and now, without any concerns about the future or hopes that are fleeting. Recognizing the sufficiency of what we already possess and cultivating inner peace as the basis for enjoying a happy life are both essential components of this concept. This does not mean that we should passively accept negativity. Rather, we should make it a conscious priority to prioritize our peace and protect our own sanctuary. A sign of strength, self-awareness, and a commitment to your own well-being is the decision to walk away from a situation when it is no longer beneficial to you. The following are some examples of circumstances in which it may be necessary to leave toxic relationships, interactions that leave you feeling drained, disrespected, or emotionally abused, unreasonable expectations, situations in which expectations, whether your own or those of others, create undue pressure and anxiety, hostile environments surrounding yourself with negativity and criticism can erode your peace of mind and your sense of self-worth. Protecting your sanctuary here are some ways to nurture and protect your inner peace. Establish healthy boundaries, communicate your needs and limits, and learn to say no to protect your energy and emotional space. Practice mindfulness. Be aware of your thoughts and emotions. Observe them without judgment. Choose to detach from negativity. Develop self-care habits. Engaging in activities that enhance mental, physical, and emotional well-being is essential to lead a healthy and balanced life. These practices may include things like meditating, spending time in natural settings, and engaging in hobbies that you find enjoyable and fulfilling. Additionally, it is important to seek support and to ensure that you surround yourself with positive and supportive individuals who respect your boundaries and contribute to your overall well-being. Keep in mind that you are the one who is responsible for your own inner peace. Making the protection of it a priority is essential. It is not the same thing as giving up. Rather, it is making room for what is beneficial to you to move away from negativity. Self-compassion and inner strength should be cultivated, and it is important to keep in mind that your peace is priceless. Beginning the journey of protecting your inner sanctuary is an important step. Keep in mind that the path to genuine happiness and fulfillment lies in making your own peace of mind a top priority and designing your life in a way that is congruent with your values and well-being. Allow your inner light to shine brightly, and allow the tranquility that you cultivate within your sanctuary to encourage it to do so. Lesson number 12: Master your inner world. There is a comparison that can be made between life and a vast ocean, where the tides change and waves crash, but a calm current represents the world that lies beneath the surface of your life. In the midst of the chaos that is caused by external factors, Lesson 12 encourages us to investigate the inner workings of our minds and locate a trustworthy source of power within ourselves. This source of power is the capacity to exercise control over our thoughts and feelings. One of the most well-known Stoic philosophers, Epictetus, asserted that the key to happiness and freedom is to acknowledge that there are certain things that are within our control and other things that are not. If we are able to transcend the influence of external circumstances, internalize this understanding, and take command of our inner world, then we will be able to unleash our power. The fallacy of external control: we frequently work toward acquiring power in the material world, making an effort to exert control over circumstances, individuals, and the results of our actions. On the other hand, this endeavor can not only be exhausting but also ultimately fruitless. We continue to be powerless over external factors, which leaves us open to the possibility of experiencing disappointment and frustration. The power within: instead of focusing on gaining control of the outside world, we should focus on mastering our own inner selves, where the true power lies. Self-awareness, an understanding of our triggers, values, and emotional responses, the ability to manage thoughts, the recognition of negative thought patterns, and the decision to reframe those patterns into beliefs that empower us are all necessary components of this process. It is possible to respond in a calm and constructive manner by practicing emotional intelligence, regulating one's emotions, and practicing mindfulness. Walking away from situations that sap our energy or go against our principles is not a sign of defeat, but rather a strategic act of self-respect. Walking away from these situations is a path to inner strength. By doing so, we are demonstrating our dedication to making our inner peace a top priority and making room in our lives for a more satisfying existence. The act of walking away is a way for us to take responsibility for our responses, choose how we will respond to stimuli from the outside world, and refuse to allow ourselves to be controlled by circumstances or negativity. Our emotional well-being is protected by re-establishing our boundaries, which includes establishing clear limits and putting ourselves at a distance from potentially harmful influences. Empower ourselves for change. We enable ourselves to create space for introspection and growth, which in turn helps us cultivate the inner strength necessary to navigate challenges and pursue our true purpose. It is important to keep in mind that mastering our inner world is a never-ending journey that calls for patience, self-compassion, and practice. Our thoughts, feelings, and reactions are the things that we have the ability to control. Walking away from something is not a sign of weakness, but rather of strength, as it paves the way for opportunities for personal development and living an authentic life. Get ready to embark on a journey of self-discovery by embracing the lessons that you learned in Lesson 12. Keep in mind that the most powerful thing is not to control the world around you, but rather to master the world that you have within yourself. Through the cultivation of inner strength, self-awareness, and emotional intelligence, we are able to triumph over the challenges that life throws at us with grace, resilience, and a sense of having the ability to make our own choices. It is important to allow your inner light to shine brightly and to direct you toward a life that is authentic and fulfilling. Lesson number 13: honor your true self. It is possible to think of life as a tapestry that is woven with the threads of experiences, relationships, and choices. Some of these threads may be bright and joyful, while others may be dark and draining. In the 13th lesson, we are encouraged to embrace the power of self-love and to be mindful of the threads that we weave into our tapestry woven together. As the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "Don't waste time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Walking away from negativity is not a sign of weakness or surrender, rather. It is a powerful act of self-love that honors our true selves and assists us in shaping a life that is in alignment with our values. Many of us have been taught to accept negativity as a natural and unavoidable component of life, and we have been taught to tolerate it. Because of fear, obligation, or simply because we do not know what else to do, we might find ourselves putting up with unhealthy relationships, toxic environments, or harmful situations. This could be because we are unable to escape the situation. Regrettably, this approach renders us incapable of moving beyond a state of merely surviving, and it restricts our capacity to experience genuine happiness and fulfillment. Self-love is not limited to the act of praising ourselves by taking bubble baths and repeating positive affirmations. Rather, it entails making deliberate decisions that are beneficial to our mental, emotional, and physical well-being. In this context, identifying harmful threads in our tapestry refers to the process of recognizing situations, relationships, or environments that deplete our energy, violate our values, or impede our growth. Removing ourselves from these potentially harmful threads can be difficult, but in the end, it gives us the ability to put our own health and happiness first. When we embrace self-compassion, we recognize that making choices for ourselves is not an act of selfishness, but rather an essential component in the process of constructing a life that is rich in love, respect, and authenticity. This allows us to re-establish a connection with our core beliefs, distancing ourselves from any negativity that may be present in order to make room for us to determine what is truly important to us and to align ourselves with our genuine selves. When we move away from the darkness, we make room in our lives for experiences and people who resonate with our light and provide nourishment to our spirit. Recognizing the importance of self-love requires us to align our actions with our values, even when doing so is difficult. Stepping away from something becomes an act of integrity, which honors our authentic selves. Making the decision to love oneself is a never-ending journey that calls for bravery, attention to oneself, and respect for oneself. The act of walking away from something can be difficult, but the benefits of living a life that is in harmony with our genuine selves are incalculable. It is important to keep in mind that we should have compassion for ourselves, that we should acknowledge even the smallest steps that we take forward, and that we should turn to those we love or professionals for assistance when it is necessary. As we proceed with this journey, Lesson 13 encourages us to create a life that is intricately woven with love, authenticity, and respect for ourselves. It is important to keep in mind that removing oneself from negative influences is not an act of defeat, but rather a courageous step towards a future in which we shine brightly, honored and nurtured by the power of self-love.